We're wrapping up this season of Ultra Chill with a special guest, our very own Uniq Project Manager, Douglas Eriksen. With his help, we'll be covering content strategy, the Ultra's Power Collection, how we're building out a content roadmap, and what our long view is for Uniqs on our platform. It's going to be a great show, so stick around. This will be the last episode for a few weeks as we line up the guests and set up the schedule and format for the next season. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when the next episode drops. In the meantime, let's get to it. Welcome to Douglas Eriksen.
Hey, Rami, nice to be here.
I'm really excited to have you on the show. I feel like this is a long time coming.
I agree. Yeah, since we met, a month or two ago, I've been dying to be on the show. I've been a big fan of Ultra Chill for quite a few months, so it's nice to be involved.
Can you give us a quick overview of your role at Ultra? What do you do, and how does it help our project grow the vision?
Sure. So we have the Uniq Marketplace launching 29th of August, which is in 2 weeks. And my role at Ultra is to sort of manage the project acquisition, the roadmap, the growth of the marketplace, how it integrates with the overall ecosystem, what the utility can be. In brief, I'm kind of in charge of the product itself, so how it fits into the overall Ultra puzzle piece.
What is your general content strategy for Ultra and the Uniq Marketplace? What's the goal that we're trying to achieve here?
So we've got a bit of a special setup with the Ultra Marketplace because what we're doing is we're curating it. So we don't necessarily have an open door policy. We are making sure that the content we provide to our community is of the highest quality. It's with artists that we respect and that have a view of long-term collaborations with Ultra, but also at the same time, we want to make sure that the community is having a chance to be exposed to the highest quality content. A lot of other marketplaces choose to have open door, which is fine, but we thought we would take a different approach. So our content strategy with that is to make sure what we're delivering is on par with the Ultra brand, coordinates well with the overall ecosystem, and hopefully can continue the visual side of Ultra as well.
So let's talk about Ultra's power. For a platform like the Uniq Marketplace, the content and its utility is at the core of the experience. I'd like to start with asking about one of the announced collections, which will be dropping on August 29th when the Uniq Marketplace opens to the public, which is Ultra's Power, a collection that we worked on with many amazing artists from around the world. Let's start with talking about how many pieces there will be.
So at the moment, we've got a few more coming in, but we've got about 13 confirmed. And volume 1 is going to be set for 20 pieces from 20 different artists. And the Ultra's Power collection is going to be an ongoing situation. So we're going to continuously find new and exciting artists that are creating some digital artwork to come and join in on the Ultra platform and provide some valuable content for our community.
There's a lot of variety in the actual collection itself, like both in artists, where they come from, types of art that they do, price, quantity, utility. What was the process like working with each artist to figure out those details?
I think as with any creative industry, which the NFT market most certainly is based on, it's always interesting to find the different approaches of each artist and adapting your approach with them so that you give them the best experience of onboarding with Ultra, but also to communicate that to the people who are buying it. So every artist has a different approach, and I think we've been doing pretty well to adapt to that. Overall, it's been very fun. I love the creative industries. I've always been a creative myself, working in the music industry and the creative arts industries, and being able to communicate on that level with artists, because it is a different set of communication, has been very vital. And I thoroughly enjoy it. Working with the side of things where we talk about ownership and the copyright in the blockchain space is also interesting to me. So the approach has been very informative and causes a lot of growth, I think, along all the different departments.
You kind of have a background in that also, like when we're talking about the legal aspect of the crypto industry that we work in. Maybe you'd like to kind of talk a little bit about that for a second?
Sure. Yeah, I could touch on that. So I'm currently completing, I'm in the final phases of my master's in law, and my dissertation was specializing in IP and copyright on the blockchain. So there's a lot of interesting aspects to NFTs and how they relate to to copyright and IP. And to explore that on a practical level with the Ultra Uniq Marketplace has been really exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty eye-opening, I think.
Yeah. I think with any creative content, especially in a digital format, there's a lot of questions and not enough answers. And I think blockchain has the exact same scenario where we're faced with a lot of questions in that industry, but not enough answers yet. So it's great being on a platform or part of a platform that wants to answer some of those questions as well as ask a few more.
There's a whole bunch of pieces that have 52 of them that will be minted. I'm super curious about that number. Why 52?
So what we decided was, how can we bring a physical aspect to the Ultra Power collection? We love the artwork so much, and we wanna give our community members and the people who end up investing or buying into the Ultra Power collection, we wanted to give them physical mementos as well. So what we've decided to do is, along with the collection down the road, we're going to be minting them into physical card decks. And that's why we went with the number 52 cards in deck. So each holder of the different Ultra Power NFTs will receive a card deck at some point with their bought artwork on the back of it.
The Ultra's Power collection is actually an open-ended collection, just like you said before, that new artists will add pieces to as time goes on. Do we have more artists and pieces lined up already?
Well, I'll reveal a little bit without revealing too much, because I think the mystery aspect is always exciting with the Ultra's Power collection. We want to continuously have a bit of surprise and some mystery in the pipeline, but we do have some amazing artwork coming in. We currently are finalizing some things with Meet Mr. 2. We're finalizing things with an artist named Matt Miller. So we've got some very interesting artists coming in with some amazing artwork. The rest is going to be revealed over time. This is just volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, all going to be coming down the pipeline. So as they get released, our community members will be updated. And the opportunity is never going to be lost. And each volume is going to come with its own different set of utility, different set of application. And depending on where the Ultra ecosystem is at the time, the Ultra's Power collection will always mimic that and always sort of celebrate the new milestones that we reach as an ecosystem.
That kind of segues nicely into the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about, which was how you kind of go about building a content roadmap. Because I think that it's critically important for the Uniq marketplace to have not just kind of like a great launch, but a sustained and growing content library, so that in 6 months from now or a year from now, there's still a lot of engaging content. I know that it's something that you've been working hard to put together with our business team. Maybe we can talk a little bit about conceptually what a roadmap is when you talk about content, and maybe some of your ideas around what's the right way to do that and what's the wrong way to do that.
Sure. It's always an interesting question, these kinds of lines of inquiry, because there's two aspects to it that I find exciting, which is it's a creative industry. So I've always said there's no right answer. Artwork is subjective, and in the NFT space, that's no different. So there's no right answer there. And there's also no right answer in the NFT space, because it's such a new space and so many things are following similar patterns, and I don't see a need for that. So when it comes to both of those, there's no right answer. So the roadmap is kind of being designed from a point of what's best for our community, what's best for our ecosystem. In terms of the content acquisition and the choice of that, we kind of work as a team to do that. Our primary motivation is what looks amazing, what is really cool artwork, and we test that along the entire team scope of it. And if we all agree that we like this artwork, we kind of approach the artist and see if they're interested in working with us. In terms of a roadmap, again, I think it's going to reflect the growth of the ecosystem, what we have down the line, what sort of develops. And I'm really excited for the different formats of content and how we want our marketplace to sort of integrate with the overall ecosystem. I think we've got a very special, I don't want to say advantage, but we've got a very special dimension to our marketplace, where it's not just a marketplace, it's not just a place to trade, it's also a place to invest and share in the growth of the Ultra ecosystem overall. So as we add more dimensions to our platform, we're going to add more dimensions to our NFTs. So I'm not going to give away too much, but the different formats that are come down the line, MP4s, MP3s, the music side of things, the video side of things, it's going to be a lot of ways that's going to be flexibly integrated into our different apps and ecosystems and platforms. So I think overall the roadmap will sort of, without taking away too much of the work that we as a team do, the roadmap will sort of flesh itself out, and I'm excited to see it come around.
I think what's really interesting about what Ultra is doing and what really differentiates us from much of the competition is that it's so deeply integrated into our games platform. Because when you talk about NFTs within the context of music or in the context of videos or in the context of NFTs with utility and all of those things, there's always that backdrop of Ultra games and things that our developer is going to be using to make sure that the NFTs that users are purchasing have value for them, but also have value for the larger ecosystem. I kind of want to maybe talk a little bit about what the long view is here, because I think that there's a lot of really interesting applications for Uniqs within Ultra's ecosystem. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on where Ultra can take the technology over the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, whatever years.
I mean, I think it's so much a no-brainer that these kinds of applications coming into place. And I think Ultra's approach to it is gonna be revealed as a very exciting one. First of all, having the central hub of the ecosystem being gaming and being an entertainment platform, I think that's a good way to start it, because a lot of platforms start with the NFT side of things. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's no right answer, but I love the way that Ultra is approaching it, because we're building from the center, not building inwards. And from that, I think that simple things like raising funds for game development is going to open up a lot of channels for mid-tier developers, for independent developers for games, and provides a lot of opportunity for the creator economy in the long run. When it comes to being an artist or being a musician or being anything creative content and gaming and the metaverse all go hand in hand. And in all honesty, I think in the gaming industry globally, it's probably the best synthesis of the metaverse I've seen so far. And it might be internal, it might be closed off and isolated, but that's going to change very soon. And you've got open world gaming, which is more advanced than ever. Once you start integrating that with the different applications of NFTs and streaming and all the different formats that we can actually integrate into these games, you're going to start really developing that digital creator economy. And I think Ultra's, I'm biased, but I think Ultra's at the forefront of it.
And I think we're very, very well positioned. How do you feel about the idea of community-driven development, where the core utility of Uniqs is voting rights, for example?
I think it's the only way to do it, to be honest. I think that, one of the main reasons I love the space so much is the community is not just a bunch of people you sell things to. I always said Web 2 is for selling and Web 3 is for sharing. And I stand by that. I think that community have a lot of say in which way you should take your platform. I think they have a lot of say in how your platform will be successful. And I think instead of treating them like an afterthought, the end user is really the person who determines what you should be doing. And people who get into this industry are not too different from the people who are buying into the industry. So we're really just catering to ourselves and to the people we want to cater to. It's the same saying as all the creative industries: always create what you want to see in the world. And I think that Ultra is doing that very well. And I think community-driven development is the only way to really work in the NFT space, in the gaming development space as well. So that's for me where the crossover works so well, is that I think gamers and NFT buyers and creatives in general all have very similar interests, and they just want to have their views and their desires sort of shared and appreciated and delivered upon. You can see it in the superhero movies that are being released all the time and the fan response to that. I don't see the gaming industry or the NFT industry as any different.
Before we go, I'd love to kind of just give you an open-ended question about what kind of utility you personally find most interesting. Like, it doesn't have to be within the context of Uniqs and Ultra's platform. I'm curious about what you think in general about utility and NFTs.
I think that there are multiple layers to that question, so I'll open up with that. But when it comes to, I'll answer it in two parts. The overall utility for NFTs, what excites me the most is a lot of these collections do these clubhouse type access passes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think they're great, and I think it creates a community where people of the same interest can come and discuss it and collaborate. And I've benefited a lot from those kinds of communities buying into certain collections myself. I think that for me, what's exciting is, again, the creator economy really excites me in the digital world. being able to create a channel of passive income or active income, however you want to see it, and changing the overall business model, creating new ways for people to make a living. That really excites me, and I think NFTs are a fantastic channel for that. How that translates to the overall NFT space is pretty obvious, and how it translates to Ultra, I think, is even more exciting, because not only do you have game developers who, you know, have struggled to be discovered or to struggle to have a platform that really caters to their interests. You've got that now in Ultra, and you're going to see that develop over the years. What that also does is it opens up the gaming industry to independent artists who translate their work into NFTs as delivery items and or delivery mechanisms. And what's really exciting about that is you have suddenly platforms where you can play your music in game. You can have your artwork as a piece of graffiti in game. You lower the resources that needed for a game developer to create an immersive world, and you open up the channels for creators to have their work displayed or shared or enjoyed. And I think that overall, that kind of collaboration exists very rarely amongst the platforms in the Web3 space, and that's why I'm so excited to be at Ultra. And not to keep tooting our own horn, but yeah, I really think that it's building it the right way, in that we're concentrating on the creator economy, we're concentrating on the gaming development industry, but from a point of the end user and the independent studios, rather than a how can we benefit from this. So I think overall it's an exciting time to be a creator.
And I deeply appreciate you tooting our horn.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm enjoying it very much.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for your time today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Excited for everybody to see what we're building and to get involved. And thanks for having me so much, Rami. I always enjoy talking about what Ultra's doing.